Hello, this is Pastor Matthew Woods from Grace Lutheran Church in New Albany, Indiana, and this is the weekly devotion for November 24th, 2025. Today's title, The Blessings of Boredom. So, have you ever been bored? Well, did you know that boredom is a blessing? Well, maybe perhaps a little strong to say that, but at least boredom signals that there is a life of blessing. Sitting on a couch, you might be very comfortable there. It may mean that you're healthy enough to sit on a couch and strong enough to get up and walk around, to go over, say, to the pantry and get yourself a snack from the wall, from the cabinet, or from the refrigerator, which in both cases has snacks in the first place. Perhaps you have a snuggly blanket, and perhaps you're curled up with your comfortable clothes, watching your favorite program. You're watching TV and you have 100,000 channels to watch. Your Wi-Fi works. Boredom might mean that things are probably in a good place. Think about your body. Are you thankful for your eyes, for your ears? How about for most of us here listening? Are we thankful that we can eat and process food normally? Are we we're grateful for the fact that we can walk on our 2 feet, that we have shoes on, that we're able to afford those things. I would think that boredom is pretty good. You have lots to give thanks for if there's boredom. Because if any of these things are out of place, well, your life would probably be pretty different. No, your boredom may be signaling you have a life full of blessings. Blessings may be getting overlooked, in fact, in these cases. And overlooking our blessings can make us kind of disconnect from the blessings of God, from the reality that we have, and it might also make us discontent. In Luke chapter 12, the parable of the rich fool starts off with a brother who wants Jesus to tell his other brother to give him his share of the inheritance. In response, Jesus gives a parable about a rich fool, a rich farmer who has an awesome bumper crop. Now, the man is already rich. This means the ground that he has is already blessed. He already has many reasons to give thanks. And as he looks at his fields that are overgrown, and he looks at his barns and he says, "Oh, they're too small. They're already full of grain. What will I do?" And it's a parable about blessings, but it's a parable about gratitude as well. A gratitude that this rich fool doesn't seem to appreciate. And Jesus gives us a glimpse into his mind. And he says, verse 17, he thought to himself, "What shall I do? I have no place to store my crops." Then he said, "I know what I'll do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones. And there I will store up my surplus grain. And I will say to myself, take life easy. You have plenty laid up for yourselves for many years. Eat, drink, and be merry." It never crosses this guy's mind to be thankful. It never crosses this guy's mind to be generous with it. I mean, there is no gratitude in his thinking whatsoever. If anything, his mind is anything but peaceful and content. He's worried about losing all of this extra bumper crop. Now, at first, his first and only thought is to keep it. Now, not give it to his workers, not tithe it to the Lord, not be generous to the poor, not a thought about community whatsoever. It was the pursuit of the easy life, more cushion from the troubles of life, if you will. But I would argue that such a life is actually impossible for a man with this mindset, because how much more is necessary with someone with this mindset? Just a little bit more, right? That's what the answer is. The barns are never full enough. Now, do you fill your barns full of stuff? Are your closets full? Are your garages full? You got more stuff than you know what to do with? A mind full of stuff, our minds full of stuff, is that cluttering our heart? I know a lady in our area that has 3 houses full of stuff, including the one she's living in. Some of us don't hoard. Some of us don't hoard things. Some of us fill our barns with lots of activity instead. Maybe it's not stuff, but it's busyness. Because it seems like a sin to be at home at night with our children, right? Or at least at a decent hour. Some of us spend our time filling our social sites with countless pics of ourselves. And so we have all kinds of things that we fill our barns with, that we occupy our time, that signals a bit of restlessness, perhaps. But, and so what we'll want to recognize is that our blessings are not the problem. The things that we have are not the problem. The foolish part about this fellow with the barns was his attitude towards what he had. It was a lack of capacity to appreciate the fundamental nature of God, the loving God that has given him so much. And this gratitude is born out of humility, which seems to be absent from this farmer. Now, we can lose sight of that if we're not careful in the same way. We have plenty of things to give thanks for. And then there's those who actually think the prospect of being with God in heaven and all this glory is going to be something boring. The problem isn't heaven, but with those who lack the capacity to fully appreciate what heaven means. We have no idea what heaven's going to be anyway, and it's far and above and beyond this world. If this world is so beautiful, can you imagine what the Creator's home was like? The problem is always here in our hearts, and that's where gratitude needs to settle. That's where our gratitude needs to be seated. To be rich towards God starts with appreciating Jesus and what he's done on the cross. To be rich toward God also appreciates what we have already, what he's given us. I've heard the stories from many years ago, the lean times. My great-grandmother on one Thanksgiving Eve had a person come over, and just out of pride, she started boiling water just so that no one would think that she was going without. But that's the way she was. She was grateful for what she had, but she was very careful with what she had as well. Old timers have told me nostalgically of growing up in the Depression, growing up in small crowded houses, but somehow there was a joy in their speaking because they were community then, and they were close to one another. There weren't the Xboxes and the internets and the few toys that they had to share. Oh, sure, there was boredom at sometimes, but they learned to play outside. They learned to do things differently and in a simpler manner. An appreciation that was appreciation back then was the appreciation not to go hungry, to keep busy learning things like sewing or washing dishes or having dishes to wash, to have a home to wash them in. Somewhere there was always something to do. There was always something to apply yourself to back then. You talk to them, and somehow or another, they thought of those days as hard, but in many ways also a blessing, and they were thankful for them. And when you listen to their stories, it's apparent that those things come out, the appreciation particularly of those who worked hard to get them through it. Today we have more than ever, and when it comes to stuff and things to do with our time, more things pulling at us than ever. This very sermon, for example, this message rather, was written on a sophisticated laptop while doing laundry, and the state-of-the-art heat pump warming my house, and the fridge keeping the turkey cold until Thanksgiving Day, and an occasional trip to the indoor bathroom, indoor plumbing. Think about that one. And the running water that all I have to do is turn the handle on and it's hot and cold. Chances are, even if we're poor in this country, even the poverty people who are still in homes, who live on low incomes, have many things to give thanks for. But it is still the people around us that I want to also mention that we can give thanks for the most. They are the real blessings to us, the friends, the family, the ones that are still with us and haven't gone into the Lord yet. I'm just so glad that we can give thanks for our fellowship with them, that we can sit at the Thanksgiving table with them. Now we can also give thanks for the communion table, by the way. Because even those who are called to the Lord are in the Lord's kingdom. We still sit at the table with them. We're communing with them every time we go to the Lord's Supper. It's just being with them, all of them. That is the essence of Thanksgiving, being with the people we love, both at the communion table and at the kitchen table. Thanksgiving really is a time to give thanks for the boredom, to give thanks for the barns that have all so much in them now, that we've been blessed with so much stuff. Our eyes, ears, and everything else that we talked about, the food on our table, our friends, especially our family, and the gift of our faith above all else, that Jesus is part of it all. So if you're bored, consider all the things that make it possible for you to be bored. So think about the wonders that you enjoy today that many generations before didn't. Think about the gifts of the people and think about the gifts of your faith. There's lots to give thanks for. Consider the blessings that you have this Thanksgiving and give thanks unto the Lord. So, may God bless us to remember those things and to appreciate those things, to look at those things and to say thank you for them. In the name of Jesus, thank you. Thanks for joining me today, and may God bless your Thanksgiving week. And I hope that you get to spend a little time with your family just enjoying one another. We'll talk to you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.